The Lungu family has made a case for urgency. It's unclear when the matter will be heard in the apex court. Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Let's stay in the court's sentencing proceedings in the trial of 3 men found guilty of killing a woman outside the Wynberg Magistrates Court have been delayed in the Western Cape High Court today. Last week, Mandisi Mofu was convicted of Christine Gumira's murder. Mofu was the triggerman in the hit on Gumira as she was leaving the courthouse. His other accomplices, Lukhanyo Meme and Vuminkosi Vumene, have also been found guilty of conspiring with Mofu to carry out the hit. Ntutu Zalonene reports.
The trio made a brief appearance in the Western Cape High Court before Judge Andre Legrange adjourned proceedings for the accused's lawyers to consult with them. Both the defense and the prosecution are expected to present their final arguments before the court sentences Mandisi Mofu, Lukhanyo Meme and Vuminkosi Vumene. The state has already indicated that it will be arguing for a life sentence on Mofu and maximum sentences for Mene and Vumene for helping Mofu carry out the hit. Christine Gumira was a murder accused turned state witness. She was about to enter protective custody when she was murdered. Ndutu Zalonene, Eyewitness News at the Western Cape High Court.
Gauteng Agriculture MEC Vuyiswa Ramokgopa says the province is primed to be the front runners of innovation and technology in the sector. Ramokgopa says the country must leverage on its G20 presidency in order to address African agricultural challenges. These include trade barriers and the adaptation to natural disasters. Ramokgopa recently joined EWN's Nokukhanya Mtambo at an Agri-Park in Soshanguve to discuss the impact of world politics in the industry.
South Africa's agriculture industry is a paradox where despite being a net exporter of products, many households still face hunger. Gauteng MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development, Vuyiswa Ramokgopa, says the key to food security is optimizing food systems.
There is a disconnect between how the systems and the economy of food works as far as actually solving the issue of food security.
High food prices are a major driver for food insecurity, with rising global competition, energy prices, the cost of agricultural inputs and the impact of various global shocks at play. She says technology can help break the cycle of food insecurity.
Size is not the only factor. It's also about what you put in terms of technology, in terms of also IP.
According to the Human Sciences Research Council, process innovation is dominant in agriculture to improve efficiency and productivity and can address immediate operational needs. Nokukhanya Mtambo, Eyewitness News.
To this now, 3 long-distance buses and a trailer have been gutted by a fire in Boksburg. The City of Ekurhuleni Disaster and Emergency Management Services responded to a call of a blaze in Jet Park yesterday. Firefighters were able to contain the blaze and no injuries were reported. The Metro's Emergency Services spokesperson Eric Maluka says the cause of the fire is still unknown.
3 stations from Boksburg, Leon Ferreira, Albertina from Kempton Park and Primrose Fire were dispatched respectively from the fire scene, and upon their arrival they found 3 buses that belongs to Gwehond and 1 trailer up in flames, and they started defensively attacking the
And an Australian court has fined Qantas airline $59 million for illegally laying off 1,800 ground staff during the COVID-19 pandemic. The court has ended a 5-year legal battle over the workers' rights. The federal court says it wants the penalty to be a deterrence to firms that might be tempted by the financial rewards of breaching employment law. Qantas decided to sack the workers and outsource their jobs in 2020 during a period of lockdowns and border closures. The court subsequently found that Qantas acted illegally despite its stated commercial imperatives and later dismissed an appeal by the airline. It said the carrier had prevented staff from accessing their rights to collectively bargain or to take industrial action. Gold is trading at $3,349.24 an ounce. The rand is at 17.58 to the dollar, 23.81 to the pound, 20.54 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.85 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, if you're driving through Honeydew, there's slow-moving traffic on Malibongo Drive between Boundary and Witkoppen, while in the mother city, there's a stationary vehicle. This is on FW de Klerk Boulevard. approaching Marine Drive, slowing down traffic. Also, accident scene involving a truck, N1 outbound. This is as you head to Brackenfell Boulevard.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 21 and 22 degrees, while Cape Town is partly cloudy with a fresh northwesterly wind at a high of 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the dispute over the burial of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu has been postponed indefinitely in the High Court to allow for the matter to be heard in the Constitutional Court.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7.
And 106 FM.
Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, we'll reflect on the national dialogue this past weekend. The Police Ad Hoc Committee on General Mkwanasi's claims meets today. Rise Mzansi on its role in the GNU. We'll speak to the DA's candidate for mayor in Tshwane, Cilliers Brink, and we will unite as South African sports fans, feeling sorry for ourselves today. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app. DSTV channel 856.
92.7.
And 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Good to be with you today. How dire was our weekend of sport this weekend? The Springboks were... I haven't got words. The Proteas lost. Drickus lost. Sambini lost. Well, came second last. Karabo Chale, you're not just a traffic guy. You're a Pirates
At
fan.
least we didn't lose.
We didn't lose, but we
Yeah.
drew.
We drew, but hey, it was better than a loss, because, it was rough the last 2 weeks.
And the coach, what do you think of the team?
At least he got our message, because what?
What the what?
The last 2 weeks was just a frustration for us. At least he heard our voice saying, don't fix what's not broken. And Sundowns is a really good team, so I'm even happy that we at least drew.
Palesa, we know that you're not a Pirates fan. We know very well that you're a Chiefs fan. How was your weekend?
My weekend was great.
It's
And-
the first time I see Palesa gloating and bragging about Pirates coming.
Because I was feeling sorry for you guys at some point.
Thank you.
I'm really not a Pirates fan.
Yes. But I'm glad you
I
felt
don't like your
the sympathy.
humbleness. That's not really humble. But I was feeling sorry for you guys.
Thanks.
Also, when Relebohile was benched the whole time. I'm a fan of that guy.
Imagine.
But he was benched and I was so mad. I was just like,
How Captain Yama 2000
Why are you doing
benched.
that?
Dude, where are you? Which country do you live in?
Should I claim my show back now?
Please.
If you want to.
So Keith says, can we have a national dialogue with Rassi? I think he's not the only one we need to have a national dialogue with at this point. But sports fans, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702, 072 567 1567. Also, we're going to speak to Cilliers Brink a bit later on in the show, and people always have a lot to say about the DA in Tshwane. Give me questions that you want me to ask Cilliers Brink today, what your thoughts are. Do you think he should be returned as mayor when Tshwane, after the local government elections, the DA has already announced its candidate? So let me know what you think about that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
So at the moment, I'm busy watching the Gauteng MEC for Roads and Transport, Kedibone Diala-Tlabela, who is holding a briefing, and that is because of the events around e-hailing. So she is meeting with Maponia Mall management and law enforcement officials in Soweto, and that is in light of the fact that we have seen people being killed there. So let's take a quick listen in to what the MEC for Transport is saying about e-hailing around Maponia Mall.
And again, law enforcers are also part of this team, so that we need to ensure not only safety of the center but safety of the community members in this area. we are confident that, and that's why you see us also in all our meetings having the taxi association. It's our interest that the e-hailers and the taxi associations work together in providing public transport services in Gauteng. So you'll always see them together. And this is out of what we've been working on for the past 7 months in the province, to make sure that they all come to the drawing board and they all talk to the issues that are their challenges. And Bontate here have committed themselves. A lot of e-hailers are their children. And we want to assist, and that's why you see us that first thing is to get them properly organized and then assist them to be legalized, to be able to operate legally, and then deal with the other challenges they have. Amongst the challenges they have is exploitation from the apps that they are participating. So there's a whole lot of issues that they are raising with us. Some are within our control, some are not within our control. And there's commitment for self-determination. There's commitment that MEC, if only government can assist us to self-determine and establish our own e-hailing apps where we can be in control as young South Africans that are participating in this. So we are looking at various issues, and that's why there's a commitment that every Monday we are sitting here with e-hailers and the taxi associations here, because if we think in other areas we are having it easier because of the working relationship and collaboration.
So that is the Transport MEC in Gauteng, Kedibone Diala Tlabela, who is meeting with Maponyomo management, law enforcement officials as well in Soweto. And as she said, this is such a recurring problem that they're having with e-hailing in Soweto and trying to get a handle on it. We've seen Uber drivers and Bolt drivers being killed, being targeted. What do you think about what she is saying about that? Send us a WhatsApp voice note. On the WhatsApp line, Chad says, I feel like sports are fun and they encourage physical activity, of which we most get precious little these days. But sports are games, and we'd be better off taking other problems as seriously as we take sports. Problems like war, economic collapse, and how we participate in the system that perpetuate them. Many thanks, Chad in Joburg. Chad, I hear you, and I know that sports are games, but we also need the entertainment. We need to feel passionately about something. We need to invest in something as well that isn't just the serious stuff. But I hear you, there is a lot of serious things to talk about. We will talk about that, but let us just feel our feelings at the moment.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
Well, maybe we should have just been watching the National Dialogue this weekend instead of watching our national teams, because the National Dialogue was quite entertaining. There was a lot going on. It was quite chaotic. Well, there's going to be a meeting this week between civil society organizations that did not take place in that first national convention. That meeting taking place on the 20th of August and will reflect on this past weekend's national convention held at UNISA. Everyone I've spoken to who watched or was there thought that it was another talk shop and it was chaotic. Well, let's get some real analysis on this with Mpumelelo Mkabela, who's a political analyst. Mpumelelo, hopefully you aren't feeling the feels like sports fans out there in South Africa today.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Yeah, no, well, people are a little bit depressed, but, it's understandable. We're used to winning.
We are used to winning, exactly. Well, let's speak about the National Dialogue. What are your thoughts on how it went this past weekend?
Well, I attended the Saturday session, and I found it quite a little bit disorganized, and I was surprised how everything under the sun appears to be up for discussion. They made a presentation, that's the organizing team, of about 22 sectors that are supposed to convene and discuss things that affect them. That's representatives of those sectors. And during that presentation, from the audience, people made additional requests that they need more sectors. And in the last count I made, I think there were about 30 different, if not more, sectors that are supposed to convene. So all of them have got different issues to discuss. And I feel like you can't have a conversation or a discussion on everything under the sun and expect every South African to have an opinion about everything and then expect to have a decision that is supposed to be concrete. So it, in the end, is unyielding, and there's a risk that it might actually produce nothing of effect.
What was the point of this? Was it a mere tick box exercise? Was it an attempt at PR? How can we ensure that this is citizen-led and that we are actually seeing genuine engagement taking place?
Look, Mandy, on the one hand, I think it's a good thing that at the principal level, it's a good thing that there can be something called a national dialogue. Not that people haven't been dialoguing, not that people haven't been talking. We have among the robust societies that talk back to power in South Africa, and the government also has a whole lot of processes where they consult citizens. We're a very consultative democratic system. And I think in itself, it's a good thing. I mean, if you really want to appreciate that, you have to look at the societies where people cannot express themselves, people cannot gather, people cannot talk back to government, cannot talk back to power. So I think from that perspective, it's a good thing. However, it is a bad thing if discussions, consultations, summits, imbizos, and all of that don't result in action, and people cannot account for what they've discussed. So it becomes an end in itself, a good thing in itself, but going to nothing, leading to nothing. And that might actually result in resentment, in cynicism, and it might be counterproductive in the long run, where people might eventually pull out of these discussions if they think these things yield to nothing.
Mpumelelo, thank you very much for that insight. Mpumelelo Mkabela, political analyst, speaking to us there about the national dialogue at the weekend. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
When it comes to protecting your workforce, trust the workwear brand that has been protecting workers for over 150 years, Sweetall. Sweetall has overalls and uniform solutions for every industry, so your team is safe, comfortable, and ready to tackle any challenge. Visit our new Boksburg showroom, shop A1 Atlas Road, Westwood, Boksburg, or go to sweetall.com today. Sweetall, we never let you down. Superior protective workwear since 1871.
A healthy immune system begins in your gut, so the inclusion of high-quality probiotics in your diet can be beneficial. Biogen Supreme Probiotic 9 strain is an advanced formula with Hawaru strains and Orati Synergy 1 fiber designed to improve intestinal flora. Biogen now also offers Supreme Probiotic for her for intimate feminine wellness, as well as a Q Travel Biotic and Choose for Juniors. Choose a probiotic supplement that's right for you. Available at Dis-Chem and biogen.co.za.
In Australia, a 9 a.m. meeting begins at 9 a.m. But in Nigeria, 9 a.m. starts at 10-ish. In France, debate is good, but in China, it's bad. In Mexico, they dress formally, but in Finland, they meet in saunas where they don't dress much at all. Getting it right pays dividends. So invest offshore with a partner who has 26 years experience in global markets, because investing in foreign markets isn't foreign to us.
Coronation. Trust is earned. Coronation is an authorized FSP.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. Regarding the e-hailing services and the taxis associations in Soweto working together, the MEC is just taking hot air. Go to Southgate. She must go to Southgate Mall and see what is happening. The e-hailing taxis are not supposed to, they are not allowed by the pooling taxi industry to operate there. They use their own car. When they see passengers coming in into e-hailing taxis, they take them out and they put them in their own private cars. It's a disaster.
all weekend we lost because of this tomfoolery and Wally-hood dialogue. South Africa and even all the ancestors of South Africa don't feel we need to be having a discussion about whatever they were going to talk about. Sahoblay.
I love that. So we lost at sport because of the tomfoolery and the national dialogue. It's all related. I understand exactly what you're saying. On the WhatsApp line, Raymond says, recurring as you say, but all she ever says is we are talking. Most useless MEC since 1994. She's a minnow compared to Mosunkutu and Vadi. And then another one says, Mandy, I believe I just heard the MEC for Transport say that e-hailing drivers are illegal. And then she continues, what we need is a local e-hailing app. I'm sure Uber and Bolt will not be amused. And then Rakesh says, why is that lady wanting to get involved in the app's issues? She seems captured by the Ruthless Taxi Association. And then another one says, hi Mandy, the MEC sounds waffling. I hope she looks into the situation at Southgate Mall as well. The Taxi Association bullies are greedy. Being a woman in SA feels like an extreme sport. She must be stern with these owners who have zero respect for the law and the greater public. Plenty of reaction there to the Gauteng MEC for Roads and Transport, Kedibone Diale Tlabela, speaking about e-hailing in Soweto.
7:02.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
Rise Mzansi has had a press conference that has given an update on its role in the Government of National Government of National Unity. We know that Songezo Zibi, of course, is the chair of SCOPA, the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. Well, let's speak to him now about the GNU and where it is 1 year on. Songezo, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon, Mandy, and thank you very much for having me on.
So 1 year in, how does Rise Mzansi view the current state of the GNU? You're arguing that you believe it needs a reset. What does that mean?
No, it needs a reset, Mandy, because there are 9 agreements between the ANC and various political parties individually. These political parties have no mutual obligations. And what our experience over the past year has been that whenever there is a dispute between the ANC and the Democratic Alliance, for instance, the 2 biggest parties in the Government of National Unity, it leads to paralysis. But there is a much bigger issue, which is even the political management of the GNU. So cabinet meets on a regular basis, but the GNU at a political level, the caucuses in Parliament, as well as the leaders themselves, have generally tended to meet when there is a crisis. Now, you can't have a sustainable coalition arrangement if you only meet when there's a crisis. There has to be a clear political and policy and legislative program that we all sign up to.
In terms of how the GNU is performing, you look at various aspects, police, transport, other issues as well, where Rise Mzansi has particularly been involved in. What are your successes or concerns around all of that?
Look, I think what has tended to happen with the GNU is come down to individual ministers or individual political parties or chairpersons of political parties and the work that they do, or even just ordinary members of political parties, MPs in Parliament, in terms of the work that they do. So I'm on the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. The committee itself has several focus areas: transport, energy, and so on. Municipalities, especially the metros and those are the apex of economic activity like Rustenburg and so on. So those are choices the committee has made under my chairmanship. What is missing, Mandy, is a coherent legislative and policy program that all the parties in the GNU agree upon and support moving forward. There can be differences between the parties, but when you don't have that coherent program, it's a problem. Makashule Ghana, my colleague, has been driving the issue of gambling regulation, especially online gambling. That's a choice we've made as Rise Mzansi. It's not a GNU position. It should be a GNU program so that it can get over the line quicker and manage the really horrific stories and risks that South African families face as a result.
Songezo, there's one paragraph in your statement which struck me, and I'll read it partially, and then you can elaborate. A 74-year-old woman who will be 75 next year has announced that she will be running for mayor of Johannesburg. She's regarded as a viable candidate. I don't blame her. The situation we have where it seems no one is willing to step forward and lead the crown jewel of South Africa is effectively a capitulation of the so-called black intelligentsia. If no one has the balls to step forward, can I say that on the radio, and lead Johannesburg, an 81-year-old Helen Zille will be president in 2029.
No, that is true. I mean, Johannesburg has a deep well of talent, whether you're talking business, you're talking politics and so on, and yet it is falling apart. We shouldn't, this city should not need someone like Helen. And I mean, I'm saying nothing derogatory about her, but at different times, 702 listeners talk about old politicians who are pensioners and should be looking after their grandchildren. It really is a capitulation by the people, and I'm speaking specifically about what's called the black intelligentsia, the people who engage in political conversation and intellectualize about where the country should go and so on. If Helen is a viable candidate for mayor of Joburg, they themselves have capitulated, because we should have an embarrassment of candidates, excellent candidates for mayor of Johannesburg. South Africa's problem and its decline is that people don't want to step forward and save the country from disaster. And that needs to change. People need to step forward like some of us have.
Songezo, thank you very much. As always, Songezo Zibi, leader of Rise Mzansi, speaking to us there, holding a press conference today, having a look at Rise Mzansi's role in the government of national unity. What do you think about that argument that we need young leaders? We have a leadership crisis in South Africa. We need younger people to step up. And that in light of the argument that he makes there around Helen Zille, do you think that's fair? I mean, Trump is much older than that. So what are your thoughts on that one? And also, he's arguing that the GNU requires a reset. What are your thoughts on that?
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. As a diehard Man United fan, I'm sorry to say, but we have picked up where we left off. No improvement, none whatsoever. More than 200 million pounds worth of signings, and still Ruben Amorim is obsessed with his formation that is so easy to defend against. I'm very sorry, but the first 6 games of the season, we will be lucky to pick up more than 3 points. It will be 3 losses, 3 draws.
Well, I can't wait for Tolakele to come so we can discuss that one. Hey, don't worry, I'm waiting for her. 12:30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. The Gauteng Transport Department says it is still waiting for a report back from investigators on the death of an e-hailing driver in Soweto last week. MEC Kiriboni Diale-Tlhabela says they need to allow police the space to do their jobs. Last week, e-hailing driver Mthokozi Simvelasa was shot and killed and his vehicle set alight outside Maponya Mall. The Eldorado Park couple accused of raping and murdering their 4-year-old daughter have now abandoned their bail application. The couple made a brief appearance in the Protea Magistrates Court today. The case emerged just 2 weeks ago when community members reported that the child was being beaten in her home. And Rise Mzansi leader Songezo Zibi has hailed the party for what he describes as its hard work in Parliament over the past year. The party is reflecting on its first 12 months in the National Assembly today. It says it has made a meaningful contribution despite operating with limited resources. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Welcome, Tolakele. I was waiting for you.
Oh, thank you, Mandy.
I'm not sure if you heard that voice note. It's a Man United fan saying that you picked up where you left off last season.
I mean, technically, we won the last game of last season, so it literally is a fresh start and we're losing freshly.
Win, lose.
But also for me, it wasn't a disappointing game. It was a disappointing result. So I'll take the positives from that one. Thanks so much, Mandy. We start with some cricket. Wekwena Mapaga has been added to the Proteas 17-member squad. That's for the 3-match ODI series against Australia, having taken 9 wickets during the T20 games. South Africa will begin that campaign tomorrow as Themba Bavuma and his teammates look to bounce back from their 2-1 series loss in the 20-over format.
Obviously, the clash in itself is not much that one needs to say there.
It's always going to be a competitive one. It's always one that the guys are going to be motivated for. So yeah, like I said at the beginning, looking forward to that and what it has for us.
In the Premier League, there were opening round wins for Liverpool, Manchester City and Arsenal, while Chelsea drew with Crystal Palace. While in the MTN 8, it finished honours even between Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns. That was in the first leg of their semi-final. For Stellenbosch, they were 2-0 winners over Sekhukhune United in the other clash. And over to the Rugby Championship, where Rassie Erasmus admits that the Springboks lacked fight as they lost their opener to Australia. The double world champions were cruising as they led 22-0. That was inside the first quarter, but a second half collapse saw them suffer a 38-22 loss.
It was a bad loss in a bad way, not against a bad team, but we didn't have fight right till the end, and that's not what we want to give South Africa. There was a stage where I felt our heads were dropping and our shoulders were slumping, and that was part of the disappointment. But we had a quick chat now there, and everybody's very disappointed. Tactically, yes, we totally overplayed. Every single time we thought something was on, and then intercept pass or knock-ons.
Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
What did you say? What did you say?
What about Trikas?
What about Trikas?
Oh, Trikas lost in his game. He was beaten badly. Okay. Let me stick to what I know.
Traffic.
Yes,
you are unruly today. Unruly.
Well, at this stage, not looking too bad on our roads. Free-flowing traffic on our highways. Just we've got slow-moving traffic though in the Honeydew area. This is on Malibongo Drive between Boundary and Witkoppen Road. There's also traffic lights not working in Midrand, Olifantsfontein Road and the N1. While in the mother city, we have that accident scene involving a truck. N1, this is outgoing, approaching Brackenfell Boulevard. There's also a stationary truck on FW de Klerk Boulevard. This is approaching Marine Drive. Traffic lights still not working in Belleville at Robert Sabuko and Rondo. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital, carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like.
Not your business.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's bringing two generations together. Every story is different, and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
As a business owner, would you rather deal with stacks of slips at the end of each day or have recons done instantly? Introducing Yoko Counter, the new all-in-one payments and points of sale system that removes the guesswork, the paperwork, and the time drain. Taking your business from chaos to control, guesswork to clarity, giving you back time to focus on what truly matters. Visit yoko.com today to find out more about the simple yet powerful out-of-the-box solution with free built-in point-of-sale software.
702 and Capitec are showcasing a new, exciting game changer for small and medium businesses, helping you cut costs and grow. Here's how you'll save.
So if we're looking at business is really a team sport. And we want a team who wants to be there. So having an engaged team is really a team that's more productive, it's more creative, it's more committed to the business's success. So building a positive company culture means you've got a team that goes above and beyond, boosting performance.
Small business focus with Capitec. No matter the size of your business, Capitec's got you on 702.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. The issue of the e-hailing services in Soweto, it's a disaster. You go to any mall, you struggle to get the e-hailing. It's not only the Southgate Mall, it's all the malls around in Soweto. And I think the Gauteng MEC for Transport should be paying special attention to this because it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Bobby from Soweto.
Good day, this is Clive. Yeah, I actually support Cilliers Brink's candidacy, of the mayorship in Tshwane. So I think it's another chance, for him to continue where he left off last time, So I think is someone that is more than capable of delivering.
Thank you very much for those WhatsApp voice notes. Lots of messages coming in about e-hailing and the situation in Soweto as well. And then obviously Manchester United fans are having their say. But let's pick up on that second voice note about Cilliers Brink and the fact that the DA has announced him as the candidate in Tshwane to be the mayoral candidate. Cilliers Brink joining us now. Cilliers, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Hi, Mandy. Great to chat to you.
So, Cilliers, why do you think that you should be the mayor of Tshwane again, in light of the fact that you were the mayor? Pros and cons. Why do you think you're the candidate that Tshwane needs?
Mandy, I think it's incredibly important that we bring order to the coalition chaos that has predominated in the metros and that has led and still lead to bad governance outcomes. We are in a post-ANC dominant era, and in Tshwane that came with a whole lot of disruption also because the ANC didn't want to let go of power. The city was plunged into chaos, put under administration that induced incredible financial hardships and difficult decisions needed to be made. And referring to my 18 months as executive mayor of Tshwane, I left Parliament and essentially a national political career because Tshwane needed strong leadership, and my team and I made some very difficult decisions. We carried them through, but due to this coalition chaos, and in particular a third party that swung its support from DA leadership to ANC leadership, we were voted out. But that was not the voters expressing their will. That was politicians playing musical chairs. And we want to put an offer to the people of Tshwane to stop corruption, to improve service delivery, to ensure the financial sustainability of the city, and to protect competent professionals who have been appointed in senior management positions and who are achieving a gradual culture change. And that is what we put to voters in the run-up to 2026.
By all accounts, it seems as though the Action SA mayor in Tshwane at the moment is doing a good job and has been making progress. Would it not destabilize the metro to change that up again? Would it not stabilize it to keep the same mayor?
I would say, Mandy, that the third-party mayor in Tshwane under the ANC coalition has plunged the city into chaos. They've tried to introduce a city cleansing levy to plug the budget deficit. The High Court has struck that down. They've underperformed on revenue collection. The ANC coalition want to remove Johan Metler from his position as city manager because he stands in the way of corruption, just like they wanted to do the same thing to him when he was municipal manager of Nelson Mandela Bay. The mayor has been silent about these things. So no, I don't think by any accounts that the city is making progress. I think that critical decisions are being made behind the scenes by the ANC. They avoid the media, and just like they did in Johannesburg, they use a third-party mayor to escape accountability. 2026 will be the opportunity where voters have their say about how the city should be governed. So this is not a campaign to become mayor before the election. This is a campaign to offer voters a way in the election. And so I agree with you, we shouldn't have further instability. And until we can assume government, we will play our role as opposition.
Cilliers, I did ask our listeners to send through questions for you as you were coming on. I have one for you from from Legion in Montana. It says, "Good afternoon, Mandy. Can you please ask Cilliers Brink about his stance on municipal worker salary increases during his tenure as Tshwane mayor? Specifically, what drove his decision to fight the issue of withholding salary increases, and would he take a similar approach if he were to return as mayor?"
So it's very simple. We were in a position in 2023 where the city had suffered incredible damage coming out of administration that the Gauteng provincial government placed the city under unlawfully. That was set aside by the court, but it was for the leadership of the city to sort out the situation. we simply couldn't afford to pay 600 million rand on behalf of residents. And remember, Mandy, these increases aren't paid for by some magical politician. It's paid for by the residents of the city. So it's paid for in tariffs and charges and property rates. And we simply said we couldn't afford that. And the city has subsequently maintained that position and won the labor court. And importantly, we also stood up to a violent, unprotected strike for the rule of law. And if we didn't do that, the city would not have been in a position to secure a payment arrangement with Eskom. So the answer to that is we will govern in the interest of the residents as a whole, not in the interest of any particular grouping. But I also think that it is for the benefit of the city's workers that the city is in a position to actually make payroll, to pay over pension contributions, unlike many other municipalities in the country who were happy to pay those increases in 2023 and now can't in fact pay their workers on time.
Cilliers, thank you very much for your time today. Cilliers Brink, the DA mayoral candidate, speaking about why he should be reinstated as the mayor of Tshwane.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Hey, you know you guys, you make radio fun. Hey, Midday Report is so interesting.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We like to cover everything. It's a lunchbox here on the Midday Report. So let's take a look at what's happening in Parliament today, because the ad hoc committee investigating General Mkhwanazi's claims have finalized the terms of reference and are meeting today. Babalo Ndenze, EWN reporter, on that one for us. Babalo, good afternoon to you. Tell us about the ad hoc committee and what's being discussed there.
Yes, indeed, Mandy. The committee reconvening today. It's their third meeting to finalize these terms of reference. Members are still, debating the details of each clause, going through each paragraph by paragraph. So they're still in that process and, debating amongst each other on whether certain things should be changed or included or left as is. So they went through the several proposals from the different parties on what should be included in these terms of reference. The legal advisor, Andile Tejana, they're saying they don't have an issue with most of the proposals by the parties. And the terms of reference are quite broad. I mean, it's just an example. They also talk on external experts assisting the committee, like the AG, the Public Protector, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, IPID, the NPA, as well as the SIU. And our members have to agree on these insertions, and if they should be left as is. Also disagreeing on the committee having to discuss, classified information. The ANC saying this should be left to the JSCI, the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence. This ad hoc committee does not, stop the business of the JSCI from continuing. So these issues around classified information should go to that committee. And also members of the committee, not really seeing eye to eye the different parties on whether these terms of reference can be changed in the future or as the committee goes on. And, the ANC not really supporting this MK proposals, to give them the power to kind of adjust these terms of reference after today's finalization and adoption. And let's just listen to Kusela Diko Sangoni from the ANC, briefing the members on this particular issue.
But having said that, I don't think that this is something that we would vehemently object to. We do think that they're a bit repetitive. But on 1.7, Chair, given the fact that it's reopened now by the submission of the MKP on 1.7, we want to just raise a point there where it says on the original, the committee may vary or amend these terms of reference provided the principle of fairness is observed. Our view is that we can't have this committee, continuing just to amend the terms of reference. We would want to at least add a line that says in line with the objectives of the inquiry. Otherwise, we leave it very, very open-ended.
My thanks to Babalo Ndenze, EWN reporter, who is covering that story about the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee investigating Mkhwanazi's claims.
What is Overtrail? Is it off the beaten path, over the edge of comfort, or the thrill of the road less taken? It's over every bridge, every obstacle, every trail, and over to that view that takes your breath away. Overtrail means going further, exploring deeper, surrounded by the comfort and sophistication of a luxury SUV. It's this spirit that inspired the Overtrail project. Experience Overtrail in the LX and GX range. Lexus. Experience amazing. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a shift worker making his way home and daydreaming about his next career move, his next chapter. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a possible light bulb moment that could change someone's life. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Are you living with diabetes? Tired of painful fingerstick tests? Introducing a new continuous glucose monitoring system from Abbott Laboratories. The Freestyle Libre 2 system sends glucose readings straight to your compatible smartphone. With minute-by-minute glucose readings, optional glucose alarms, and excellent accuracy, the Freestyle Libre system is here to support you in the management of your diabetes. For more information and where to buy your Freestyle Libre 2 sensor, visit www.freestylelibre.za.com. Now available at your local pharmacy.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. I'm a e-hailing driver. I've been victimized more than 2 times. The main problem is that the MEC might find that is related to the taxi drivers and the taxi owners or vice versa. So he can't do anything because she is protecting what we don't know, because they are all related. It's like the traffic cops. Some of the traffic cops are the sons and daughters of the tax owners. What are they gonna do? They won't do anything.
Hi, Mandy. It's not just Soweto. Alberton City Mall in Alberton. You don't get the Uber there. You must walk to the Civic Centre. Sandton City Gautrain, there's no Uber there. There's a section where you have to walk quite a distance to get to it. Sandton City Mall, you have to get it at a certain section. You can't get it. At the Gautrain station at Park Station in Joburg, you can't get it right by the Gautrain station. You have to walk a distance.
Thank you very much for those WhatsApp voice notes around e-hailing. We were listening to the Gauteng Transport MEC speaking about this a bit earlier. Also on the WhatsApp line, Nkosana says, young leaders does not always translate to a good running of the municipality, but energy and skills. Ndukenhle says, good day, Mandy. I'm a Man United fan. I don't think they are ready for the season. I think Tolekele would feel otherwise about that. And then a few other messages about e-hailing as well. Chad saying, I think the fact that our leadership structure is so centralized and so narrow is in large part to blame for why we are all just watching our future be decided upon by others. Thank you for all of those messages.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
12:50 on the Midday Report. Well, in the North Gauteng High Court today, there was supposed to be an appeal heard against that judgment ordering the repatriation for burial of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu. So let's see what happened there. Khomoto Modise, EWN reporter. If you're here and you're in the studio, that means nothing's happening in court.
Yes. So it was a very, very brief sitting. And we expected it to be brief, Mandy, because the Lungu family, approached the Constitutional Court last week on Friday evening. What we expected on Friday morning was that, yes. So on Friday morning, we expected an actual hearing for leave to appeal in the High Court. This was their bid to go to the Supreme Court, right, and actually have the appeal heard, right? But of course, as you know, they need to go through the High Court for leave to appeal and then make their way to the Supreme Court. What happened on Friday was that the lawyers for the Lungu family and the lawyers for the Zambian government agreed to meet outside of court and to almost discuss a way forward, even though papers had already been filed for the leave to appeal. The court granted that. It was the acting judge president, Obrile Dwaba, who granted them permission for this, saying it's fine, they can go and have that conversation. They never came back on Friday. It was decided that they would come back today for a decision on leave to appeal to be made. But hours later, after that Friday morning sitting, we then got wind of papers being filed in the Constitutional Court. The Lungu family escalated their bid to the Constitutional Court. So when I found out from lawyers that they are still sitting today, I did expect it to be rather short because they just had to inform the court of their bid in the Constitutional Court. Of course, the two processes can't run parallel because the Con Court is the highest court in the land, higher than the High Court. The Con Court process must, be heard first. And if it fails there, then they'll come back to the High Court for their leave to appeal.
What is the situation on urgency in the Constitutional Court then?
So they have made an argument on urgency, and in the papers that I've seen that were actually drafted and were presented by Advocate Tobi, who was roped in last week, was that they believe that because there's a clear case for urgency here because it's a burial, and the people of Zambia need the closure, they're saying, and this is their leader, and so this is a chapter that they want to put behind them. In my view, Mandy, I'm going to be very interested to how they argue the fact that it's been 2 months already. He passed away in June. And so they've already spent this much time. You'd imagine they'd want to see the process play through in the High Court and then in the SCA. But I suppose for them, they feel if the Constitutional Court can hear the matter, it should.
Sure, fascinating. Yeah, I imagine there's a case for urgency there. We are seeing more and more parties going directly to the Constitutional Court instead of going through the High Court appeal process. So interesting there that the family of Edgar Lungu choosing to approach the Constitutional Court directly. I would argue there's a case for urgency. They want to go ahead and bury. So that's going to be a very interesting legal case to watch. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Hey, Jim, what's wrong? Hi, Bob. I'm just so confused. I'm trying to buy a car and I don't know where to stop.
Well, have you tried to...
have you tried to... Sorry, we're trying to do an advert.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to cars.coza and let's find what moves you. Cars.coza.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
Sports Wrap.
Sports Wrap.
On 702 and Cape Talk.
Morning, Mandy. Morning to you and the team there. Let's go on, yeah. Hey, Mandy, I wasn't watching the match, and when I found out that we were lost, when my daughter told me, I was so angry at Rusty. Because I know he's capable of bigger things, man. He's capable of bigger things. How did we lose there? And something came to me and said, maybe he wanted to lose. I don't know. This is Rassi. You can't confirm this guy. We know that he's better. He's way better than that. But I think it's one of those matches that he wanted to lose. I'm telling you. No. Look at the performance on the first half and the performance on the second half. I think Rassi being the expect that he is in rugby. I think he wanted to lose this one. But it doesn't feel nice to lose, man. We used to winning. But it's okay. It's Rassi. We forgive him.
We need a national dialogue with Rassi Erasmus at the moment. Shame. I can feel your pain there. Did you see what Oxen Chair said about how the second half they just didn't follow the game plan and they kind of went rogue? Well, Mwande, Give us some actual analysis on the Springbok situation. We'll start there.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Yeah, well, I think the biggest concern from my mind with the Springboks at the minute is that they can't put together an 80-minute performance. We saw it in the test matches against Italy in July and now once again. Because once you're 22-0 up against the Australians inside 20 minutes, I can understand that there would be some complacency that sets in a little bit. But at some point during the game, somebody should have decided to take the game by the scruff of their necks and settle things down. And I don't think we had that, for instance, a game management model that would slow the game down or perhaps, interrupt the Australians. And it seemed like the more mistakes they were making obviously they allowed the Australians more into the game. It just seemed less and less like experienced players in the match.
It was a bit panicky.
Yeah, it really was unimpressive and really concerning from some really, really good players and players that you rate highly.
Football, MTN 8 this weekend. Krab was thrilled by the fact that we didn't actually lose as Pirates. Palace is unplayable as a Chiefs fan still.
Yeah, and I think Orlando Pirates probably have a lot to thank for their goalkeeper, Sipho Chain. He made a really great double save. I think it was about in the 38th minute that I think could have gone either way, really. But as it stands, Orlando Pirates are still in it with a chance. And I think that's the sort of thing that they need, especially with the pressure that would have built around their coach. And also, for instance, it was really good on him that he ended up selecting a more familiar lineup that Orlando Pirates fans would have been familiar with. Yeah, which was, probably a really big mistake on his part last week in the loss to Marumo Gallants. But hopefully they can maintain it for now because, once again, the rivalry is really, really incredible between Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates at the moment. But it needs Pirates to be competitive on a more regular basis than they possibly were.
First weekend of the Premier League, I'm totally biased, but I think that Richarlison's second goal against Burnley was unbelievable.
Oh, God, that's goal of the season contender, definitely. The acrobatics, the accuracy and everything like that. It really looked good. And I'm actually quite happy for Tottenham, believe it or not, because of the fact that I really rate Thomas Frank. I think he's a really great manager, and I think that's a really good addition for Tottenham this season. And I do think that with the Champions League and the like, that they could be a really good contender going into the season ahead. But yeah, some really good performances as well from Manchester City, especially. I want to single them out. And also from Liverpool. It's what you get from Liverpool. They look like they're fumbling and messing up with their lines and everything like that, but they come back. And
United, what did you think?
Really good from United. There's a point where I couldn't really watch because I was scared. But the United performance was good. And I am inclined to agree with their coach, Ruben Amorim, who thinks that they deserve more from the game. But as an Arsenal fan, I do think it's great that they were able to win while not playing at their best. And it's one of those things that people talk about at the end of the season. That's the hallmark of a championship team. So hopefully that rings true.
Very quickly, Tolekere did not want to talk about this. Any thoughts on Drickus?
Yeah, I'm not fussed.
Okay. At least Gayton posted a tweet saying good fight. Well, thank you very much, Mwande. Really appreciate you wrapping up the weekend sport for us.
The Midday Report.
Well, thank you very much for listening to us today. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk, brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1:00.
This is EWN.
A probe is still underway into the death of an e-hailing driver in Soweto, and alleged child killers abandoned their bid for bail. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Gauteng Transport Department says it's still waiting for a report back from investigators on the death of an e-hailing driver in Soweto last week. Gidiboni Diale